out sort of your sort of debate history and discussion sort of videos. So, I know you've said in the past sort of that you don't find any of the sort of quote-unquote debates successful. But how...
I don't know if I'd say successful. Maybe fruitful would be a better word, but sorry.
Fruitful, yeah. Well, so how would you define fruitful in that case?
I don't know. My idea of a debate is two rational people will come together with different conclusions. Those two people will analyze and take apart each other's premises to find out which ones are the most agreeable. And then after, the dust clears and the premises have been kind of laid out and settled, then both of you agree on whatever conclusion would logically follow from said premises. Assuming you're stemming from the same value systems, which I think most people more or less do, whether they want to admit it or not. But instead, it ends up just monkeys throwing food at each other across, the table, and then people screeching and jumping around and throwing things at each other and calling each other pedophiles, and it doesn't seem like any actual real argumentation happens. So.
And so, because I was looking through because you're talking about like the poop flinging with the monkeys, and it seems like a lot of your sort of on your YouTube channel, the most successful, some of them were some of your biggest sort of poop flinging ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're good for viewership and they're very
yeah.
entertaining, and I enjoy it. I like it. I enjoy the conflict. I very much like verbal, exchanges are very fun for me. I enjoy it a lot. But I mean, in terms of like good debate, if like a college professor is like, oh, you say if I go back to school and he's like, oh, you said you've engaged in a lot of debate online and you're in school to help you, excel at that. Can you point me to some of your better debates? Like, I wouldn't be able to link anything to like, I'd be like, no, I haven't started yet. Actually, I'm sorry,
Well, you could say you've got a 6-hour conversation with 5 other people calling you a pedophile. That's a solid one. That would be a emotional experience.
It doesn't seem like I think he would send me to like therapy instead of any college classroom to deal with that.
Most possibly. And so in that case, this might seem a little bit sort of superficial or a little bit naive, is sort of if you one enjoy it and two gain some sort of success from it financially, why have you sort of decided to blacklist a lot of those people?
They started to like the fans of the political people. So, politically, I've evolved significantly over the past like 8 years of my life. I went from being an edgy high school libertarian in my early 20s to where I'm at now, which is probably somebody who's very socially progressive, still a liberal / capitalist, but more so like a social dem, soc dem or whatever. I guess a social democrat. So as a result of that, I've been witch hunted by people on my left and people on my right very violently throughout my career. Maybe more so than most other people online. I'm not comfortable making that claim, but more than most, I would say. When the left people were witch hunting me, they were very ruthless in going after sponsors. They would go after sponsors, and then if my sponsors wouldn't drop me, they would go after clients of my sponsors. It got pretty insane after a while. People on the right, though, will not only do the same thing. Instead of saying that it's because I'm racist or misogynistic, they'll say it's because I'm a pedophile and I want to, do things to children. And then they'll go as far as to like make spam phone calls to the FBI and stuff, which is stuff that never happened to me on the left. Ordinarily, I'd always say that like I don't care because in some ways I don't care. But the problem is like I have a child. And I don't know, like, if that stuff is ever going to blow back on me in a really bad way. If, like, Nathan comes home from school and, like, the FBI shows up, like, we're here because we heard that you were, a pedophile or something, and it's like, it just gets very stressful, I guess, after a while. And that and then, like, the spam reporting across all of my media accounts, like, my Twitter got permanently banned, it gets spam reported, my Twitch account gets spam reported, my YouTube channel, every video gets reported, like, on a bi-monthly basis, I get, emails from YouTube saying, like, hey, we got a report, we manually reviewed this, but it's okay, blah, 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 like, every month, the political people on the right are just ruthless. And at some level, I can't give up too much to engage in these types of conversations. Like for instance, like if I would have known that like my Twitter account was at stake, I don't think I would have engaged with a lot of people that I did. I never realized that it would get like that deep where I would actually get like permanently banned from a platform like that. It's just the amount that you have to put at stake to engage in conversations with these people to some extent isn't worth it, at least not for me. Or I would say not for anybody,
Okay. And so, with your... I'll just ask, so I sort of heard throughout the time you've sort of done sort of appeals to try and get your Twitter back. So is anything do you think anything's ever going to come from that?
I mean, it basically comes down to whether or not I can get a conversation with like 1 or 2 people that I know at Twitter that like operate in my circles. Because I'm pretty sure that my account shouldn't, like if a human were to look at it, I don't think it would be permanently banned. I'm pretty sure like an algorithm caught some tweet and then like some, guy in a call center or something reviewed it. It was like, oh, click perm ban. And then that was it. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe at TwitchCon or BlizzCon, we'll see.
And so you just mentioned also before about sort of the toxic sort of communities that have sort of gone after you. So what would you say out of all of those ones would have been like the, oh shit, what have I stumbled into here? This one is definitely the worst. Which one of them would have been for you?
I mean, the alt-right people are definitely the worst. They have like no holds barred or whatever. Like they'll go after everything. Like they were trying to dox like my kid's mom and everything, and they do it like openly, like on public forums and stuff. So yeah, those guys were easily the worst that I've ever dealt with.
Do you think any of those conversations you had, that any of the people sort of walked away and thought, actually, you know what, you may have had a point, even though it may have been a shit show? Do you see or sort of any development in certain people's
Very few have. Very, very few have. There's two huge problems. One is that a lot of people come away from these debates thinking they've won, even if they've gotten completely crushed, just because they're so bought into their narratives that they can't fathom, using any type of reasonable thought process. So, for instance, there's a guy called Count Dankula. He's the Scottish dude that got arrested or fined or something for that. He taught his pug how to do Nazi salutes.
Yeah, the mate.
And I had a conversation with that dude related to gathering data to form an opinion about something. And his idea was, instead of studying something, you could just watch hundreds of videos on YouTube, and that'll give you a good view of, some sort of statistic, or it's a valuable way to collect data. And he came away from that conversation thinking he was totally correct in how he analyzed it. Yes, I mean, there are people like that. There are other people that, if they get blasted hard enough, they kind of walk away and they either don't talk about that topic as much, I notice, or yeah, that's it. It's very rare. I think people are so financially invested in their own positions too. Like, you've got to keep in mind that these are people with maybe 1 million or 500,000 or 250,000 subscribers on YouTube. For them to totally change the politics, even if they were vested in an argument, would cause them to suffer great financial hardship as well, because they're so bought into their narrative. So I think that the intellectual integrity of these people is probably severely compromised due to the fact that they make a living off of their political opinions as well, which is sad because it stifles your ability to grow politically.
How do you deal with the blatant lies that are thrown against you?
I don't know. I haven't figured it out. These things are called lose-lose-loses situations. That's how I kind of analyze them. You can either ignore them, and then they usually fester and grow because you're not addressing it. You can either address it and deny it, in which case people will say that you're hiding something because you obviously deny it. You don't come out and give any more information, and it makes you look even worse. Or you can start to divulge personal information in order to prove the actual allegations wrong. But generally, the people making these allegations already don't care about the truth. There's a really good quote by, I always forget it, but it's something how like fascists delight in playing games with the truth, and as soon as you destroy one point, they'll gleefully move to the next without any concern whatsoever for rational discourse. I don't know, some edgy quote like that. But I mean, it's true. Like, I've got people that say all sorts of crazy things about me, and as soon as I show up with some evidence, like, okay, well, look, like, you're actually just completely wrong, they don't care. They just move on to the next thing. Or when you release personal information, they start attacking new stuff in your new personal information, so you have to divulge like your entire life in order to do it, and then you've lost them because you're giving more personal information. So there is no good way to deal with people that have. I mean, how do you deal with somebody that's abandoned truth? I mean, like, what do you do? I don't know what to do to that person. I mean, aside from like physical violence, maybe. I don't know how to like actually like make a person not be crazy. I don't know. If you figure that out, shoot me an email. I would love to know it.